The streets of Salem were a terrifying sight. The witches dancing with the demons in the night. Their evil minions watch the town while it's in bed. Wish 'em dead, wish 'em dead, wish 'em dead. Old Reverend Paris knew that something was amiss. He felt the evil from a spiritual abyss. He knew the time had come to purify the town. Hunt 'em down, hunt 'em down, hunt 'em down. No time was wasted in assembling a squad. This pitchfork army on a mission sent from God. No witch was safe from Reverend Paris' brigade. Their crusade, their crusade, their crusade. Call the magistrate and don't you wait another minute, 'cause this town is going to hell if we don't put away the sinning. And we got no time to let a jury have their turn. Let 'em burn, let 'em burn, let 'em burn. The damned were crammed into a carriage on the square. Their faces battered and their bodies all were bare. The Reverend led them to an isolated hill. Time to kill, time to kill, time to kill. One by one their necks were snapped beneath the cedar tree. The spirits vanished and the demons all were free. They dug a hole to hold the devilish remains. They were slain, they were slain, they were slain. The town was safe from all those wicked dissidents. They could continue with their life of innocence, dispensing justice from a higher power. They built a church atop the spirits and the bones. Their moans were heard as they were laying down the stones. But the witches got revenge beneath that steeple bell. They cast a spell, sent the Reverend to hell.
Elise for $24.99 said, always is and has been wrong. You had a friend in need. Please pass it along. You had a friend in need. Please pass it along. Thanks. And Robert for $4.99 said, Kyle is going to sell a lot of sexual favors in prison to raise money to pay Steve. And NANA for $6.66. It's about time. Rock and hail Satan. Lord Burns for 10 said, for your next Whopper meal, Reds.
Fuck yes.
I want to do one. I want to do one that's not a super chat, but it caught my eye by Debunker 9000. He said, hashtag Kyle can still win. The only thing Kyle can still win right now is a game of hide the sausage.
I'm not convinced he can win.
This is gonna be fucking great. I fucking love this shit. It's great, guys. So yeah, we're doing this in celebrations, and thank you all for supporting Steve McRae. It has been an absolute fucking blast seeing Kyle get absolutely wrecked today in the dockets. So Scotty Forbes Lee is like, peace out, bitches. I'm out. Did the good and professional thing. So Scotty Forbes Lee, nothing but respect to you, and good luck in your future endeavors. And as for Kyle, bite that pillow.
So I have one other question to layer the meta. Since there's no Burger King in prison and the hashtag is no BK in prison, would it be better for people to get everything except Burger King?
Now, while there may be no Burger King in prison, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Bubba King.
Womp womp. RNGD Gaming for 2 said for the Vaseline for Kyle's commissionary and the Athens.
So with that, let's go down.
Carson Carolina for $5 said Kyle gonna squeal like piggies that Red's murdered.
Ouch.
Screen share for a second.
Who would have fucking thunk it?
I think
Hey,
the
I got
theme song
something
for
to
Kyle's
present.
next great live stream is going to be Prison Bitch.
I got something to present. So, Red, can you do me a favor?
You want to
please?
screen share something, don't you?
Yes, I do, and do not show it live. Do not.
Okay. We're okay. You got it. You made the order.
Yank it out.
It's good. Whip it out.
Order 66.
What am I looking at here? I'm
Let's
going to be
see
scared.
what we have
Oh,
here.
I've seen that,
I don't think that's going to be a worry.
I just wonder, is it big enough?
It is big and girthy enough. I don't think the nuts are fat enough though.
Oh, to be fair, we have no sense of scale there, so it could be.
And I don't think it's long enough either because this needs to tickle the back of his tonsil.
Exactly.
I think it's the wrong skin tone.
The wrong skin tone. And by the way,
Are
why
you saying
are
Bubba
they
King does not approve?
why are they only giving him one tub of Vaseline?
It needs a Bubba King tattoo.
It needs Bubba King approval, and he does not approve.
I could not believe that they actually sold 55-gallon drums.
Why is it not wrapped in barbed wire?
Who the hell needs 55 gallons of lube?
Don't kink shame me.
I don't judge it. Jesus Christ, get out more. Get a hobby.
Why do you think I need a 55-gallon drum of it?
Okay.
That is the hobby.
Okay.
And it comes in the
That is
blue
the
barrels
hobby.
at G-Man Coast. Just saying.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. 82. Can you bring up that picture again, please? Can you bring that up? Just bring that up, please. Just bring it up.
You heard him. He wants it back.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants it his way.
Come on. Bring it up again. There we go. Okay, so my question is, 1, why only one tub of Vaseline? 2, why is it not wrapped in barbed wire? And 3, would barbed wire kind of defeat the purpose of Vaseline?
Yes.
Okay. And the answer to my other 2 questions.
Hey, at least it's got a rope.
It's just a starter kit.
Oh, I see. Okay. Just a start. Now I get it. All right, we're good. We're good.
It's for just the tip.
Just the tip. All right.
this is what, and again, they've done this for years with people.
This
They
isn't the
used to do
only
this with
thread I've got
G-Man.
about my real life.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole G-Man getting called at work. I'll admit my part in that was to create the Gary Ridgway meme. But that was something that I did with Look a Pig back in the day. But eventually somebody, and it was Look a Pig, called him at work.
and we didn't, and everybody denounced it.
Everybody was like, no, that's not cool.
Not everybody.
Well, okay, you're right. You're right. That other side supported that kind of behavior.
Right. They were the ones that encouraged it. And they said, well, they called G-Man at work, and he locked a bunch of people, children, I might add, into his work with him to deal with a prank phone call that should not have ever been a thing in real life.
Sounding voices, we have to go to the uncomfortable topic.
Oh, is this the policing your own thing?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, two things. One, Gary Ridgway is Look a Pig. Two, he's not welcome here anymore. Well, I do have one thing positive to say to G-Man. I was having an argument with this, and a lot of people disagree with me, but you know what? I still think that I owe G-Man an apology, even if it's a small one. I jokingly said that atheism got him fired, and it's really his own fault that he got fired, except it's really not. Because G-Man is not, I know some people disagree, I think you do specifically, Sanga, but Look a Pig clearly pushed him as hard as he could, called his work many times, until, let's face it, he's a child mind. He did something stupid and stayed on the line and recorded it. So in which case, Look a Pig then called the boss and specifically told the boss where to find videos of G-Man doing things he probably shouldn't at work. Now, it's wrong. G-Man obviously was a terrible employee, and they're right to fire him once they found out. However, it was us, our community, trying to hurt, not our community, but Look Big, wanted to hurt G-Man and figured I can get him fired by doing this.
But let's keep something in mind, though. But JD, just one thing. He often made videos from behind the counter at work, okay? He often did that. It was only a matter of most corporate culture does not put up with that.
Oh,
it's
I agree.
Only a matter of time. It would only have been, I mean, all it can be argued that all Look a Pig did was accelerate an inevitable timeline. And frankly, I'm okay with that.
Honestly,
no. Come on. Letting things spill over into the real world and calling somebody's job and purposefully going after their employment.
This guy has shown that he has no honor, no scruples, and no boundaries.
I don't care.
Okay, well that's nice.
Okay.
You can. That's nice.
Wait,
No. The fact that he's a dick, the fact that G-Man is a dick, does not justify you to be a dick, right?
Yes. I don't see it that way. I'm sorry.
Two moral wrongs do not make a right.
I'm
with Barney on this one.
I say you don't. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say that I don't condone calling people's work. It's not because I particularly feel for G-Man, because I think G-Man honestly could go to jail and I'd be thrilled. But I think that it's that for the sake of the entire community, you don't do that, right? So for the sake of everybody, you don't do that.
So I've listened to a little bit of this, and since I was the one blamed for all of this and at the focal point of it, here's my thing. Even now, do I think that his job should have been called? No. Believe it or not, I don't think so. But here's why. I don't want it to be a justification that if you piss someone off enough, that is the go-to. I don't want to make that a thing. We already know.
It's the argument that Hogtie gave about the instant karma kind of thing. You know, some arsehole driving a car, gets in a complete rage with someone, gets out of his car to berate someone, and leaves his car, and it's not in, the brakes aren't on, and it rolls away and crashes. Now, there's a difference between us laughing at that and one of us getting in the car and pulling the brake off.
Yeah, and encouraging it, right? So there's a difference between seeing it happen and saying, "No, man, don't do that," and actually being like, "Yeah, I'd totally do that, but I don't want to take the heat from it."
I think that that's the point that's lost. I don't think that we've said this before, is that there's two separate questions here, okay? And one of them was, is what Gary Ridgway did by calling the work right? Was that a correct action to do? And I think that there's an unanimous agreement here that no, that probably was not the right course of action to go about there. But then the other question is, did G-Man deserve what he got? Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In that sense, he was the architect for everything. For all the stuff that happened, and this is the point that I was saying before, was that he is the one that caused this. This wouldn't have happened, if G-Man wasn't G-Man, if he didn't conduct himself in this way.
And here's the thing, I stood up for G-Man for that, and yet they came out again. This is one of the reasons why we wanted nothing to do with that group. They do these kinds of things. They support these kinds of things, and when we stand up and say, "No, this is wrong,"
to say that, but that'd be a good title. If we want to label
Apparently, Uni's mad that I doxed him.
this person labeled me.
That's a true story.
This
Wait,
person,
hold on.
person labeled me, tried to label me a
True story.
So wait a minute. I stepped away for a second. What true story are?
Somebody in the chat was like, Uni's going on right now on his stream about how I doxed him, and I mean that's technically a true story, I guess. I mean, he put his information out. We went through all of the records and stuff, and showed that it was him. I mean, according to all the information that he put out, but what he's not saying is that originally it wasn't me that did it. It was this chick named Melissa Zakaria, aka the Honeybee, a Pizzagator. New York was going after the Pizzagate squad, so they all doxed the absolute bejesus out of him, Rachel, and everyone else, and then we're sharing it around. So if he wants to be correct, Random Rinse of Ryan doxed him first, actually live, online or whatever. And later on, I made some LARP Wars videos that just, was me going and looking at that stuff and being all like, ooh, Unirock, is this real? Is this fake? But, it really clearly does show that it's most likely him. I mean, everything lines up perfectly.
Right. The name is right. The birth date is right. The town in a particular state in the Midwest is right. No, I'm not going to go into depth just how much I know. Just know, Uni, you don't want to fuck with me.
You weren't around at the time, but Bull remembers and Reds remembers because he hates this topic. How many videos were made about the whole DNA dissolving or degrading in water? How many videos were made on this? Because that was about the topic, right? Couldn't count.
Oh my god, I couldn't even fathom. I couldn't tell you.
But then they started moving away from that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was dozens to say the least. But then they started moving away from that, and they started making interpersonal attacks with people. I noticed this. Bull noticed this. Red's noticed this. Red's used to be friends with these people too.
You guys have bad
Don't remind
taste.
me. Yeah, tell me about it.
Have I said anything that's incorrect, Reds? Anything?
I do want to clarify something. I want to make sure that people get the whole story and not just part of it. When it came to the G-Man calling fucking his work bullshit and stuff like that, I was actually a part of that. I was a part of that call that called G-Man's work. If there was a reason why we did that, looking back on it now, that was a shitty thing to do, and quite frankly, I should apologize to G-Man for allowing that shit to happen. But the reason why we actually did it was because G-Man was lying about getting fired and was asking for donations on the fucking internet because he was fired. So we showed that he was lying about getting fired, therefore he was asking for donations under false pretenses. Granted, that was way too fucking far. I'm not sure why the fuck I thought that was a good idea. And you know what, G-Man? If you want an apology, I'll tell you right here, right now. I'm sorry. That shouldn't have never fucking happened. That was a bullshit thing to do. And yeah, I'm really fucking sorry about that. Yeah, it is a bullshit. It is. Hang on. Hang on. Not that. It is a bullshit thing to do. And I'm gonna say that. Hey, listen, G-Man, if you're watching this, you know, give me a shout on fucking Twitter or something, and I'll give you an apology on a private phone call, just the two of us. All right, there's that.
And I'm no fan of G-Man. Good.
There is an appropriate way and an inappropriate way to do it. The way you guys went about it was inappropriate, but to confirm whether or not he was doing something under false pretenses is not, that's acceptable. So you could have contacted his work and be like, hey, this is going on. Does this person work for you or not? Without having to like call him while he was at work. There were other ways to go about it that would have been appropriate. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Hang on. But here's the thing, guys. Exposing it would have solved nothing. At most, G-Man was going to make maybe $10 off of his fucking GoFundMe. It really didn't warrant the response that it got. So fuck it, as far as I'm concerned.
But here's the thing, and I respect the fact you apologize for that.
That's fair. I was around for this.
But has G-Man ever apologized for threatening to call my landlord to get me evicted? No.
No. But here's the thing. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that people don't seem to understand, and this is something that Unirock doesn't seem to fucking understand. I can be the better person. Let's hypothetically say that Steve McCrae is the second coming of Hitler, and that you've seen him do some pretty nasty shit. You don't have to be as bad as him. Be a better fucking person. So you know what? G-Man can do all this shady back level shit. I don't care. The fact is that I'm a better person. I will admit when I overstepped. I fucking overstepped. And that's it. Nothing else needs to be said there.
Listen, these people have one thing in common, all of them. They always project what they do onto other people who don't do them.
Welcome to this very special episode of Ethan Plays Live.
Don't force me out of bed in your society. Don't push me down the road you're laying down. Don't try to fix my head, it's just your anxiety. Don't hush me now, cause I just wanna shout. Don't make me dance to the tune that you're humming. No, my body don't move like that. Don't make me pretend I don't see your shortcomings. You'll be running when I raise the black flag.
This was not an interview I ever thought I was going to get to do. We will get to that in a few moments. There will be an after show. So the after show is going to work the way that the old after shows did on when I was on Mixer. So tonight's after show will be on Twitch. It will be immediately following this. You go over to twitch.tv/Ethan Plays Live. It's somewhere on the screen or something. Anyway, to watch it, if you want to participate in the after show, come on and comment. All you have to do is join my Discord. To get the Discord link in chat, type !Discord. The link will come up. The link's in the description. I'm sure one of the mods can get it to you. I want to thank the mods. Especially, I want to mention Lady Starfire. For those of you who don't know, she was in the hospital. She has been discharged. She is at home. She's doing a lot better. And I want to thank everyone for their overwhelmingly positive support towards Lady Starfire the past couple of days as she was struggling with that. Okay. Tonight, we are going to talk to Hannah. I'm going to let Hannah tell her own story. This was, like I said, not an interview I ever thought I was going to get to do. And the reason is because when I first asked Hannah if she wanted to do this interview, she told me no. A year or whenever ago it was. And she said that she was not interested and did not want to do it. And a few days ago, she reached out and she said, I'm ready. And I am not going to explain a single thing about Hannah because I think it needs to come from her. And it will only be whatever she is willing and ready to reveal is what we're going to talk about tonight. So with no further ado, Hannah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I hope you can hear me.
I can. Oh, I wanted to mention one other thing to the live chat. I can put your messages up on screen. So for instance, Rattle Chan, as you can see, I can highlight your messages. This is a beta program that I've never used before. I don't know if it's stable. I don't know if it's going to break halfway through the stream, but I can put your messages up on the screen. So if you do have something you want asked or a comment you want to make, tag myself or tag Hannah, and I will try to get them up on screen. Okay. Sorry about that. I forgot to mention that. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm, you know, it has been a challenging day and it was difficult to get this stream off the ground. You guys have no idea the technical issues sometimes confronted by streamers in the background, but I'm glad that we were able to do it. And I'm glad to talk to you. You and I have known each other now for, I don't even know, a while, year and a half, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely been over a year.
Yeah.
My God, that's a long time.
I know. And you've always been very kind to me and a good friend to me. And I do want to say that if at any time you want to stop and turn the stream off, we immediately will stop and turn the stream off. If you say in 2 days, hey, delete it, I will delete it. This is not, I don't want anybody saying that I'm twisting your arm or forcing you to be here. That's definitely not what's going on.
Like you said, I reached out to you. I'm the one that contacted you and was like, yeah, I'm ready, for the interview. Because something that I think is worth mentioning is that Fiona did an interview with you. Was it a few days ago? Or was it Tuesday, Monday?
Monday, yeah, I think.
Something like that. And, oh, guys, if I'm low on volume, I'm sorry. I did not set up my laptop for the Wi-Fi here. So I am on mobile on my Bluetooth, so I don't think Ethan can turn me up anymore.
You are, I've already maxed you out. You are as maximum volume as I can get.
Hold on, I have one last resort.
Okay.
Case. Maybe I should turn off Bluetooth and see how it goes. I'll be right back.
Maybe. In the meantime, Insidious Vids just subscribed, and welcome to the channel. Thank you for subscribing, Insidious Vids. Yeah, she's, She is. She's on her phone. She's at like a 4 out of 10. Yeah, it's low, and I've got the volume maxed on Discord. Like, you know how you've got the little slider? It's at 200%. So that's
Is that any better or any worse?
it's the same.
I
I'll tell you what I'm going to
gave
do.
a God-honest attempt.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my microphone down so that we're about even. Okay, now our volume should be about even, so people can turn up their volume, and I shouldn't blast them out. So that way, you and I should be more even now. Go ahead and say something.
Hello.
Yeah, you and I are about even. You're actually a little bit louder than me now, but okay, we should be good.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. This is I don't live in New York, so I don't have my old place, so I don't have everything set up that I usually do. So I apologize for my volume being a little messy.
It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna make this work. I promise we're gonna make this work. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I start all of these interviews the exact same way with the exact same question, and that is, how did you first find the GDC?
I found the GDC through everybody else. I think it was a G-Man versus the Black Hebrew Israelite video. He has one that actually has over 100,000 views or something like that. And at the time, I was actually debating Black Hebrew Israelites live on the street. So I was scouring through YouTube, trying to find out like what their arguments were, what they're interested in. Because the first argument I ever had with a BHI did not go as expected. So I actually found G-Man that way, and from G-Man I found Drag. From Drag I found Talking Shit Tuesday, and that's pretty much how I met everybody else.
Okay. And what did you participate a lot in the GDC?
I'd say I lurked, rarely ever leaving a message in the live chat for about 6 months to a year, and then I started chatting quite avidly in the live chat once I created a YouTube account, because I was always anonymous at that point. So once I created an account and I decided, I wanted to participate in the live chat, I became more and more of a regular and more of a familiar face. And I think it was either a Steve hangout where he said, look, here's the link, Google Hangouts, anybody who wants to join, come in. And I remember the very first hangout I joined, I just wanted to quickly extrapolate a point somebody was making about, I think it was young Earth creationism at the time. And it just devolved into all of us like having fun, talking shit. It was felt like more of a hangout than it was a conversation or a debate. So
Right.
I think that's how I first came on to YouTube.
And was that usually what you argued? Was like young Earth creationism stuff against that?
Yeah, I think I've been in debate club since high school, middle school. So I'm always, searching for that kind of entertainment, the blood sport, so to speak. And I always had discussions, debates with people on the street or preachers or whatever. Not like avidly, not like, I would bother them, but like, hey, I've got an hour to kill before I go to school, and here's the preacher on my, college corner. Why not? Let's entertain them for a little while. So I think from there, that's kind of what drew me to the GDC was, I can have these discussions or a debate whenever I wanted to.
So this is a question that I usually ask people, but for you, it's got, I think, a very special answer. So I'm still going to ask you, even though it's a really loaded question. Who would you say you were closest to in the GDC?
Closest friend-wise? Closest, like...
You answer the question in any way that you heard it.
Okay, out of everyone in the GDC that I got close to, the closest person who, penetrated the inner circles, I guess, of my psyche were Rhetoric. For those of you that don't know, I'm Rhetoric's ex-girlfriend. We dated, I believe, 2 or 3 years. I'm off on my math. It's been I don't usually think about it, so I'm going to be totally off on my math. But I think we started 2016, going into 2017 January. So 2 to 3 years, yeah.
Okay. And as far as friends and not romantic entanglements, who would you say you were closest with?
Well, that when it comes to friends, I think the way that it happened was the same group of people would be in the same hangouts on Talking Shit Tuesday and such. That I became close to a few people almost simultaneously. Like Fiona, I really appreciated her a lot. I still regurgitate some of her Yek famous one-liners.
Right.
Counters to this day, still to this day. Drag I got close to because he thought he was someone who I saw a lot of potential in him as far as being like an orator or someone who could have pretty good rhetoric. He was such a cringy white belt atheist in the day, but he's come around since. So I'm really quite proud of his progress. Scientist Sam. I mean, there's quite a few people that I became close with, and people who even today I'm going to go visit. I see them as regularly as I can, considering that we're out of state. I would consider them real life friends now.
For those just coming in who are just joining the stream, Hannah's voice is as loud as we can get it, and so I turned myself down to approximately match her. So yes, the overall volume is a little low, so you may have to turn your volume up, but that's what it's got to be today, unfortunately. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's one of those things, we work through it. Okay. Tell me about your relationship with Jade.
With Jade?
Jade.
I think in my life, I don't have many regrets because I think regretting is a useless practice. I think it just creates unnecessary heartache. And, foresight is always going to be 2020, so you do the best that you can in the moment. But when it comes to Jade, she's one of those people that I always assumed she would be around. And she was like a living encyclopedia. I don't think there was any random question that I ever posed to her where she didn't have a concrete, solid answer that I could go look up on my own. She's actually the reason why I discovered my sexuality, because I didn't, I couldn't quite describe my preferences to other people, and I didn't know myself too well. But having one conversation with Jade, I walk away, oh, I'm LGBTQ. Oh, shit, is that what I am? Have I discovered that?
Right.
Just one conversation. I think we were having it for 2.5 hours. Jade is the type of person that I took for granted that she would always be here. And I always wanted to have such conversations with her about her activism in her youth, her college life, her high school life, what she did, during the Vietnam War, like the stuff that she would say that she participated in. She was like an activist in the real sense. She was a feminist in like the real sense, activist on the streets there.
Right.
The wealth of knowledge that she has, the stuff that she's seen. And I just never got as close to her as I thought that I would, just because I never thought of the GDC without Jade. She was always there. It's always a cat picture, somewhere, and there's Jade in the corner, or there's Jade in the live chat, or there's Jade, trying to figure out how to get her computer working or her mic working, or her cat stumbled upon her keyboard and muted herself again. She just was always there, and then one day she just wasn't. And I don't know, I guess that kind of hit home to me how much like people in this community matter to me. Like to me, the people that I interact with aren't strangers.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that I care about, and I think it took Jade passing for me to really appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, the loss of a thing that means so much to you, or person, can fundamentally affect your life. I lost my mom when I was rather young. I was only 23, and it was sudden, and it's not something you recover from. It's something that you learn how to deal with the sting of. And I feel like from the stories that I've heard that Jade was that kind of figure for a lot of the GDC folks, that she was that kind of anchor that helped so many people be able to relate to each other, even through their differences.
100%. I mean, I could not tell you somebody. There's two people in the GDC that I can tell you I actively tried to emulate. One of which being Christopher Mowdy, the other being Jade. I cannot tell you two more patient individuals when it comes to dealing with folks who aren't necessarily keeping up with conversation. You know, they're not understanding, or they're just simply trying to humanize them. Because I think we forget that a lot, that when we debate people on the opposite end of the spectrum, you know, whether it's politically or ideologically or religiously, that is a human being. You know, that's somebody loves them. You know, they have kids, or they're someone's son or daughter. And Jay was the type of person that always said, you know, you have to find a way to reach them where they're at, not for them to go to you.
Right.
And I never, to this day, I don't think I can do it. I think that's something that probably comes with her unique experiences, and someone who just was. I don't want to do the wise old lady, or the wise old man trope.
Sure.
But I can't even, like, I don't know how else. The only other person I could think of is Christopher Mowdy, and even then, you know, he even has his limits. Jade almost never. Almost never. I can only think of one time she yelled, but that was mostly at the cat. So, so I can't think of one time where she sincerely was angry at somebody. You know, frustrated for sure, but angry, never.
When she died, there was a funeral that was organized for her. Were you part of organizing that?
I would say there was like the first line, the second line, and the third line. I was the third line. So what I mean by that is there were people who organized the hotels by, you know, calling around, getting discounts, you know, stuff like that. There was the second line, which was trying to basically herd cats into making sure everybody got a ride. And, you know, they got to the location to and from, like, you know, that we had a general overall plan. And then there was people like me who basically picked up the slack. Like, hey, this person's having, you know, issues with accommodations. This person's having issues with another person. You know, how do we resolve this? How do we figure out a way to do that? So I was involved in some of the planning, but majority of the planning, I have to say, was Fiona and Sam.
What you know what I'm going towards. What?
Yeah, listen. If you want to ask me, I will answer.
Well,
but
I want to go slow.
It's hard for me to just
Sure.
out of the blue. It's
no,
difficult.
I know. We're gonna get there. I want to go slow. I'm being deliberate for a reason.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it was who did you go to the funeral with?
I went to the funeral with my boyfriend of the time, Rhetoric.
I thought you also went with Jackie. Am I wrong on that?
Jackie, so we shared a suite, but we didn't share flights. So with Reds, yeah, nobody really shared a flight to my recollection, but Jackie was there.
Okay, my apologies.
Yeah. No worries.
Let's get to the recording, since that's where we're headed, really. The recording. Who made the recording?
You're talking about the Spackle recording, yes?
The Spackle recording.
Spackle did.
Right.
She's the one, right? She was the one who made it.
So, can you describe what was recorded by Spackle?
So I'm gonna need to lay down some background info so people understand.
Please do.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out a good place to begin.
You're fine.
When it came to the funeral, Reds and I both agreed that Jade was an important individual that we both would prefer to see off. Yes, in any capacity that we could. What started happening was that the funeral itself, the trip itself, was used as I guess a way to manipulate people would be, and I don't, and this is just my opinion, you know, someone else can disagree. But it started becoming an apparatus for which he could get people to move a certain way. what I mean by that is, as I said, I'm on the outskirts of people planning. But one of the reasons why it took so long for everyone to settle, to plan, to officially know who's going to be, driving with whom, who's arriving when, and all that was because of Red's Rhetoric. Red's Rhetoric would constantly, in DMs, between me and several individuals, say he doesn't want to room with this person, he doesn't want to be near that person, he can only be near her, be near him. So people were scrambling to make accommodations for him because, again, he wanted to go. But then some days he would decide that he didn't want to go. And this became a really hot issue for me because as my boyfriend, I saw him as regularly as I could. We live on complete opposite sides of the country. I live on the top half, he lives in the bottom half. And one day I went to visit him in Florida where he was, and we were supposed to go see a rocket launch at 5 o'clock in the morning, I believe. We did not sleep that night because I started a conversation with him about what was his plan to go to Jade's funeral, because he and I are tight with money. We have to make sure that we're saving. We have to make sure that, every dollar is accounted for and such. And I cannot tell you, I think that was the most miserable day that year.
So the plumbing job didn't provide him enough income?
No, at the time I was unemployed. I just freshly quit my job.
Sure.
And I was burning through savings because through the relationship, I thought it was normal that we just buy each other stuff. Like, he's interested in a jacket. Okay, it's a $210 jacket. It's not a big deal. I can swing that. What started happening was that he would want to see me as often as possible. So he tried to make it almost every other month. And I could not afford that because that would include, he has to find some place to stay because I can't accommodate him. We'd have to go out to eat, and he has very particular food, palate. He doesn't eat much at all. He would prefer like chicken nuggets and French fries every single day if you didn't push him to eat something else. So it just started becoming like a money pit where like, hey, I can't have you coming, up to see me in New York. Or I can't come down to see you in Florida because, plane tickets and all that are just racking up too much bills. So when it came to the Jade funeral, we're like, okay, we're planning this. We know that this is something that's going to happen in a few months. This is how much we're going to save. Well, what started as a trip to a rocket launch became a 5-hour argument in the car where I was feeling gaslit to the point where I wanted to tuck and bail on a highway because he would not stop. And basically what he was doing was, I want to go, but I'm going to buy my own hotel room. Okay, with what money? Well, I'm going to go and I'm just going to sleep in the car. Okay, sleep where? This is bubblefuck middle of California. Like, where are you going to go? I'm going to go, but I'm going to start a fight with this guy. No, why can't you just not start a fight? Why can't you just, like, ignore people,
Sure.
And it just became, he's going to go, he's not going to go. He's going to go, but he's going to spend money he doesn't have, or he's going to go, or he's going to sleep in the street. Or, it just, there was no, it went back and forth for 5 hours. There was crying, screaming. It was just, I just want my boyfriend there. Can I not have my boyfriend there as a pillar of support for me and I be a pillar of support for them? So the deal that we had reached eventually after, I basically made him pull over and I just had to take a breather because I was so physically upset, like I could not calm down for a little bit, was that he would agree to go so long as I accommodated him, meaning he's going to be alone by himself. He's not going to interact with anybody. He's not going to see anybody. But if he were to give me a look, or if he were to stand in eyesight from me, I was to go to him. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I have to go and be with him. Now, this is a group activity. There's a lot of people here.
Right.
So you can imagine that it's going to be awkward when one person is deliberately not wanting to participate in the group functions, which to a degree is fine. But then the second half would come in where I would get food for them, I would fetch things for them, I would make excuses for them, I would be polite to other people on his behalf. I would,
Right, sure.
And that, as predicted, and I tried, I really, from the bottom of my heart, I really tried not to let the funeral vacation, I guess, so to speak, go off as it did. The funeral itself was fine. If you watch video, there's a video which I know people don't want to release because it has his face on it, where the funeral itself is beautiful. It is, people are giving eulogies. They're giving last sentiments from people online. Red spoke for people online who couldn't afford to attend. The trip to the whales and us getting seasick because so many people wanted to leave so many final messages for Jade. The waves were swaying the boat like crazy. Just like we were, some people were like physically lifting off the boat. Sometimes the waves would be that high. So half of us got seasick, just waiting for hours after everybody is saying their final words to Jade before we finally release her ashes. That's not where the problems began. The problems started before then. It paused during the funeral. I think he behaved well enough to put on, at least perform in front of everybody as if he were okay. And then it immediately picked up again during the reception. And that's kind of where everybody can see that his behavior was out of control. And I know I'm being long-winded. I'm sorry.
No. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so here's my question. You obviously, and you aren't the first person to tell these stories. It's just you're the closest person to Reds to tell this story. You obviously went out of your way to accommodate him at many, many times. Was there ever a time when he did the same for you?
If I were being honest, no. I think throughout the relationship it was, and this is my opinion, I felt it was very uneven because the things that I had to do for him sparked conversations between my friends and I where we had to discuss what the definition of rape was. Now, I'm not saying that he did. I take the antecedent. I'm saying he did not. I take that position. But it got to the point where it's just like, how much do you have to bend over for somebody else to accommodate somebody else when they refuse to budge, or like when your feelings aren't taken into account, your personal comfort isn't taken into account. It was very common to be gaslit. He would in one sentence tell you one thing, and then the very next sentence contradict himself. So when you ask for clarification, he would start. How do I put this? He has two faces. One is Red's Rhetoric, which is this debate bro, verbose, very
Vulgar.
crude individual. Yeah, that's a facade. That is absolutely a facade. That is not the individual that he is. That's the individual he wishes to be. Very, very pro like toxic masculinity, just all the stereotypes of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Reds as I knew him, which is the guy that I fell in love with. He's soft spoken, he's sensitive, he's hunched over, shy, he just wants his hand to be held, he doesn't really want too much. That was the guy that I thought I was dating, and merely that the persona was something, he did for entertainment value online. What I didn't understand was that Red's Rhetoric and the person who Reds is cannot survive without Red's Rhetoric, like emotionally. And it was so draining during the relationship to talk to somebody and to explain, like, you can't act like an asshole to my parents because you're uncomfortable. You are meeting my parents for the first time. You have to, like, not be weird. Like, to say not being weird would be putting it a little too lightly, but you just can't do, you have to be polite. You have to observe social decorum. You can't just decide, well, fuck these people because I'm Red's Rhetoric. You're not Red's rhetoric when you're out in public. You're just a normal, lanky, skinny dude. Like you're just a normal person.
Just a plumber.
Um,
I want to remind everybody real quick, there will be an after show over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. If you want to watch, if you want to participate in the after show, you need to be a member of my Discord. If you just type !Discord in the chat, you should get the link. If that doesn't work, it's down below in the description, or a mod can put it out. So please join us. We are going to be over on Twitch once we're done here on YouTube. Okay. Nana of
I'm
Seven.
sorry, just
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just I know you asked me a question, and I still haven't answered it because I'm just being so verbose. I'm really
you're
apologizing.
Good. Go for it.
So to finally try to put a wrap on the Spackle video. So after the funeral, he drew attention to himself while still being away and ignoring everyone. Like he was ignoring. Oh my God, I'm gonna forget their names. Two of Jade's best friends. Like these are the closest people to her. Were the ones who organized the funeral. They held the reception at their home, which they had decorated with all of her photos, her belongings, turkey cats everywhere, chataris, just food. It was unbelievable what they had done just for us, because they knew that we were coming and that we didn't know her like they knew her. So they put on all this history of Jade inside their home. Reds was so he didn't like a select group of people, and he felt like to punish them, he would remove himself. That's just I don't know how to explain it. That's just how he thinks. So he sat outside on a table, just not moving, barely talking to anybody. And it got to the point where he wouldn't go inside to feed himself. He wouldn't go inside to look at old photos of Jade or to talk to her, a few surviving family or her friends and ask her, like what kind of life Jade lived. So it was stressful in the sense that I had to go be a runner for him, go inside, get him food, go inside, get him drinks, go inside, get him, whatever because he refused to leave the table. Like that was just set up outside. But he would fly his drone around the building so that everybody can hear him and see him, like see that he's there, So it was just, people wondering, what's going on and all that crap. So when we got back to the hotel, everybody just wanted to chill. So we decided to play a game of Cards Against Humanity. I was having fun. A whole bunch of us were having fun. And Fiona wants to retire for the night. Okay, perfectly fine. See you later. I'd say about 10, 15 minutes later, she comes back. Reds wants to see me. And I thought that was strange. And I thought, okay, I know what he wants. This is him enacting. This is him enacting the deal that we made, which is, hey, if I call you, you have to come. Okay, that's what's gonna be. I go into the room and he's like, oh, I got you, I got you McDonald's, except all McDonald's is eaten. I'm like, I'm not hungry, I'm good, we just ate. Oh, okay, so we're going to bed? I mean, I wasn't planning to. I was planning to go have fun with everyone else. And he's like, yeah, but but why don't you go to bed with me? Okay, I can see where he's going with this. Okay, he wants me to go to bed. And this is not to say like that his behavior was normal prior to that. Like, he had done stuff in front of people, like Captain Osimo, like tell me that I'm going to sleep on the couch because I dared to attempt to introduce him to Captain Osimo, who again was his best friend back in the day prior to the GDC. Like, this was someone that he co-hosted a podcast with. This was someone who was excited to meet Reds. There was no they hadn't talked in years. Captain Osimo hadn't been in the GDC for years and was excited to meet him. But because I dared to knock on Red's door while Reds was in there, he, in front of Captain, told me to go sleep on the couch, which I ended up sleeping on the floor because Fiona took the couch. Captain, I guess, people found out that happened, and that already left a bad taste in folks' mouth, especially his behavior, refusing to introduce himself to anyone. We were by a pool, everybody's coming in, from the drive, and he's not talking to anybody besides me. People are extending their hand, trying to greet him. This is just the first meet and greet, and he's refusing. He's ignoring, he's turning their back on everyone. So people were already pissed off. So when it turned out that I was going to retire for the night, I guess the guys just had enough and they decided to confront him. Captain knocked on the door. Can I come in? Sure you can. I opened the door. And from there, Captain just wanted to have a conversation with him. There was no yelling or scream. Like, Captain was a little animated, but that's just who he is as a person. And they were basically telling him, like, your behavior was unacceptable. And I remember just trying to get everybody to go to bed because this was the exact situation I was trying to avoid. But no matter how many times I told Red, like, you aren't just avoiding people because you're sad. You're actively being rude. It's one thing to be rude to me. Nobody has to know what you're doing to me. That's fine. But you're being rude to me and to everybody else in front of other people. So everybody now knows that you're doing this. So he got upset that someone confronted him, and Spackle, which good on her, honestly, was a brilliant move, decided to record the bulk of the confrontation. So that was the recording you heard.
Wow.
At this point, it might be relevant if I share that recording. So I'm going to pause this real quick. There's this recording. It's in a public place. It is not in a hotel room. It is in the public. It is in the parking lot, basically, landing, looking down to the parking lot. We had neighbors looking at us, so there was no expectation of privacy. There were people around us peeking out to the windows, passing by. There was a cop car that patrolled by very slowly. It is a public area, so no expectation of privacy. You might ask why I ended up releasing that video that I recorded, and I'll show you in a moment. I ended up releasing the video because they were making accusations that Red's feared for his life because Captain Osimo was in a violent rage. And they were slandering Captain Osimo, painting him into a violent rage. Captain Osimo's a bartender. He knows how to handle things without being in a violent rage. This video also was recorded because he had made threats, and he said, "You're lucky I didn't bring my Ruger." And we, at that point, there was the initial confrontation that she spoke about. This is a second confrontation by accident. So we're trying to get people out of Rhetoric's room. He's already made a threat. People are done. And his entire room, including his girlfriend, left his suite and went into my suite at 2 a.m. in the morning. I was woken up and I was pretty pissed because I was tired and grumpy. I was woken up from dead sleep with people crying and upset because he had done this. And he was confronted because he was being so nasty to his girlfriend that somebody felt like they had to say something and say, "This is not acceptable. I cannot stand watching this." And that was Captain Osimo, who had no prior problems with Reds before, no past confrontations, was not part of TST, but he saw what he would consider unacceptable behavior happening to her. So he confronted Reds, and Red's reaction was to freak out and say, "You're lucky I didn't bring my Ruger." So he lost all of his support group, and they ended up in my suite, and they vacated out of his. So when we were missing somebody and trying to get somebody's luggage, we had to go back. So I followed Osimo because I didn't know. I didn't want a confrontation to happen. I didn't know what Red's Rhetoric was going to do. So I hit record because we bumped into Reds. He was down below. We're up above. And he's like Romeo, and I guess we're like Juliet. So here we go. And again, I didn't want to release that. I didn't release it for the longest time. This is the video that AT2 keeps demanding. Where's that video? Where's that video? Where's that video? Where's that video? And AT2 intentionally lies and says it's about him. It's about Reds. But he intentionally lies because AT2 does that. And he goes, oh, see, Holy Spackle's a liar. She says she has a video about me, but I never said that. It's a conflation that he makes intentionally because that's how they lie. So it's really hard to explain how they work, but it in action, when it happens to you, you'll see it. If it happens to you, you'll know it. So let me flip my share screen here. 1 second here. I'm gonna briefly unshare this, and I'm gonna share a new screen. I was not happy about this situation at all. It was stressing me out. We really tried. We really fucking tried with this guy. But there was already a history of behavior that was disgusting, and we would just keep putting it aside just so we could get along and accommodate this guy. And it was the worst mistake ever. Never accommodate somebody like him. Tell him if he can go to the event, but fuck off. Like, get him away from you. Like, don't accommodate people like this. Lesson learned. It's a big lesson learned. Getting wrapped up in some of these codependency problems is a problem. But it's how he works.
That's not a sign of somebody wanting to be alone. That's somebody who wants.
No, that's a sign of somebody wanting to talk to Hana real quick. And here's the thing.
He was demanding talking to Hana real quick because the people, everybody wanted to leave him, and he was demanding on talking to Hana, Fiona, or Jackie, the three most emotionally vulnerable people. He was like, I want to talk to Hana, Fiona, or Jackie. The most vulnerable people, the most emotional people. That's who he wanted to talk to. They didn't want anything to do with him. They were crying in the room, and we were saying, no, you can't see them. And he's like, oh, why not? And he was quite insistent, and we asked him to go to bed.
Nobody's going to reply to your texts. You want to be left alone. You really want to be left alone. You would be calling Jackie. You would be calling Kevin. You would be calling Fiona. You're going down the roster. That's not a sign of somebody wanting to be alone. That's somebody who wants.
No, that's a sign of somebody wanting to talk to Hana real quick. And here's the thing. You've played the cards. Congrats. But here's the thing. What I would like to speak to Han about is really important to me personally.
Okay.
And also, I would like her to hear it because I know it's going to be very important to her.
So.
And also, if this isn't going to be the environment of understanding, but mere like, oh, you wanted this, well, now I'm going to completely overdo it in spades. Well, then there's no reason for me to stay here any longer than I can, and I'm going to get out of here.
You do you.
So please tell Hana that's what I would like to talk to her about.
Right.
Because I really would like to.
Right.
Or at the very least answer my phone call. So
She's not going to talk to you for tonight. Take that as you wish, and you do you. It was a pleasure meeting you. I hoped it would have been on better terms, but this is how it's going to be right now. You willed this, buddy, you got it. Last thing. I don't ever want to hear you threaten any of us. We're just here to talk to you and address the issues that have been happening since Thursday. We're calling cops. We're pulling this whole bravado about guns. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that.
I don't want you to invade my room.
Red, you are not the one in the right. Don't try to overplay the few cards that you have by grabbing to the extreme. Threatening to call the cops. Are we G-Man now?
Are you seriously suggesting that you are in the right here?
Yes, I am. So you go back to your room. You have a van. You go do you. Hannah does not want to talk to you right now.
Why is
Her
that?
reasons are her own.
Because of something that you said to her?
No, her reasons are her own. Maybe because she was having a good time playing Cards Against Humanity and Master knocked on the door and demanded that she go back to the room.
I didn't. Okay, first of all, that's not how it happened.
Okay, Red.
You're
I've been in a
literally making
relationship
up, you're
similar to
making up
what's going
stories
on right
as you
now.
go along.
I'm not making up stories.
Because
I'm telling you with how it is.
when she was called back to her room, it was only for two reasons, and two reasons only. One, to give her back her phone because it was blowing up, and two, to ask her if she wanted anything from Starbucks because I was going to go out and get something.
Love a snickerdoodle. Let's go to Starbucks.
Bring her along.
No, let's you and I go to Starbucks. My treat.
I don't want to go to Starbucks. I don't drink Starbucks. This was supposed to be for her.
What do you like?
No, I don't want to hang out with you. You ruined
It's
the
not,
mood.
it's not hanging out. It's not ruin the mood. I'll fucking romance you.
No, not
Red. Red. Hannah is not going to be at your beck and call tonight. I'm sorry.
It's not the beck and call thing. It's a converse, or not even a conversation, a quick chat, and she can go back to sleeping on wherever.
The quick chat is not happening tonight. That's it. I'm sorry, Red. It's not happening tonight. She needs to sleep it off. We all need to sleep it off. You need to sleep it off. We're gonna chill the fuck out. And when she's ready to talk to you, for whatever fucking reason it is, she'll talk to you. I didn't tell her anything that nobody else hasn't told her before. It wasn't anything mind-blowing or profound. Just what I've noticed in the 24 hours since I've been here. But buddy, you got your wish. You are alone. I'm sure Jade would have been proud right now. But you are alone because of your attitude, not ours. You can tap dance it, you can try to mental gymnastic it, buddy. It ain't gonna work on me. Enjoy your castle. Enjoy your room. You do you. Nobody's gonna stop you. Nobody's gonna. You do you. Hell, I want to talk science. I want to talk space shuttles with you. My dad worked for Douglas. He used to direct satellites. That was gonna be cool.
I get that. And like I said, that's still something on the horizon, Captain.
I know.
What? All right. I get the feeling that you're not listening.
I am listening.
Well, then let me try.
But
Let me
I'm just trying to. Red, I'm listening. But here's the thing.
Don't make my point for me, Captain. Please don't. Let me talk.
Go ahead.
Thank you. When I say I want to be left alone, when I say I want kind of like my little sanctuary, my little seclusion, that's also within the group that I had, the very small group of four, which was Fiona, Cliff Jumper, Hannah, and then myself. The group of four. Because they were going to be my rock through this, and they knew that. We all planned for that as well. And then it isn't until I get barged in on that all of a sudden that plan gets derailed.
Want to know what Drag told me?
I'm talking about what.
Well, let me tell
Why
you what
are you
happened.
bringing up Drag into this?
I told Drag, I'm going to go over there right now. You better stop me. You are the only one in this room that can stop me. He said, buddy, it needs to be done. I said, okay, I'm going. That came from your rock.
Not Dragnaut was not that. Dragnaut was going to do his own thing.
So, Red, you do you.
Well,
you do you. Now, mind you, I recognize acts of attention getting. I know the patterns. I know the tricks.
Sure.
No, it's not happening. Go to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep. Deidre's going to go to sleep. We're all going to go to sleep. We're going to wake up fresh, clear the mind, and then we can all hang out and do it. Do whatever the fuck you want. Figure things out with Hannah. It's not happening tonight.
And I was woken up to this. I'm not part of any originating thing with this. But
Right.
I do think,
I'm sorry that you are working.
Right.
but I do think we need to take a sleep.
Not a single soul stopped me from coming to talk to you. No, granted, I will give you the fact that yes, I did barge into your room. I'll give that to you. What about the first time, like, hey, Red. First words out of your mouth when we meet was looking at your girlfriend and saying you're sleeping on the couch tonight, and you slammed the door.
And then you actually did it. Which, by the way, I've been married for 16 years.
That
And that's one thing that my husband has never done, and I've never done to him.
the floor. That wasn't joking.
The floor of the couch.
That was absolute disrespect.
It's emotional abuse.
Absolute emotional abuse, disrespect.
I'm married to somebody that does that sometimes, and it every time.
That was my first impression of you.
Every time you're gonna hurt somebody, you know, and it just scars relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's not healthy.
Yeah, but can I finish my sentence though? You mean it this time. Thank you. Captain, this entire time that I've been here, I've been fighting a lot of shit in my mind. And I've also been dealing with a lot of stuff that not anyone really knows, including Hana. And when I said at the very beginning that I'm going to be in no mood to talk to anybody, I assumed that people would, okay, get the memo, the warning was placed out there, okay, Red's going to be kind of douchey and by himself, but hey, at least we don't have to blow it out of proportion, right? Tonight, it was actually blown out of proportion. Tonight, what happened was that I was laying in my bed. We had just gone to sleep. Hana was perfectly okay at the time, and also said, "Hey, are you going to go back and play with your friends? Seemed like a good game."
It was.
And she decided to cuddle up. She said, "Get undressed, jackass," and that kind of thing. Gonna play for it. You know how it is. So, something like that. The idea was very clear and very straightforward. But after this stunt that was played, or whatever we want to call it, I don't even know the words to describe what just happened. But basically at this point, you're not a person I want to meet. You're not a person I want to hang out with.
Totally fine with that. I'm okay with that, Red. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
But hang on, one more thing.
Go ahead.
But I do want to apologize to you for one thing. I apologize that, actually a few things. I apologize that we didn't meet under better circumstances. I'm sorry that I didn't come by myself where we could have a beer, chat, shoot the shit, that kind of thing. And possibly you could talk me into drinking that subliminal ghost piss that people excuse as beverages. Or try to get me high as fuck, being that it's actually illegal here as far as I've been aware of.
It is.
Or helping me key a Tesla because, quite frankly, I've always wanted to try that.
You should say that.
And
Part next to
also,
5 at my work.
and also get a rental minivan for the sake of doing donuts in a dirt parking lot.
Facilitate all that.
And a whole bunch of other which includes but not limited to including nitrous. And then return the minivan like that, saying "fucker, you fix, I got CDW."
I have members. And you like this. I have members who offer me to drive their sports cars all the time.
Understood.
Including
So
their Teslas. But
yeah,
anyway.
1,300 horsepower Buick. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that could have been done in a better way. And I apologize that wasn't done in a better way, or that wasn't done under any better circumstances. But the one thing is that even though you might be in a state of mind where you're being a dick, or you might be in a state of mind where you're dealing with a loss, or whatever the hell's going on in your mind, it doesn't matter what it is. But if you go out of your way and you snap at somebody, I will be the first to call you an asshole, definitely. But I will never be the guy to walk into your room, hotel, or your actual place and get in your face. I'll never do that. I will never be that guy. I never want to be that guy. And the very moment I am that guy, then there is a severe fucking problem with me.
Right.
And I don't ever want to be that guy. So, as far as I'm concerned, this place is I don't just want to be alone. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here anymore.
Then go. No one's holding you down. Go. Use your van. You make good money. Go.
I don't make good money. I work 10 hours a day trying to facilitate this to actually work.
You can't facilitate something when you despise people. That's the problem.
It's not about despising. It's about saying to myself. Granted, there are one or two people here that I actually do despise. Granted, I'll give you that one. I'm not going to hide that. But the fact is, you mentioned Pew. Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
But
who's the second? Just curious. Oh, Kevin. Okay.
We're not.
Yeah. All right.
Our gray hat troll.
Just remind me.
So, but when it comes down to it, they had their own ride. That wasn't an issue.
Mm-hmm.
If they came in my van, then there would be a problem. I would have to bite on something hard.
It's just tough because
What's
you do send out a vibe, and then that'll affect your whole room. And it is just.
Vibe B is as vibe A, and yes, I'll go ahead and accept that.
I struggle with
But-
severe depression. I can tell you that if certain things go unchecked, that can definitely make the people near me miserable. And I'm just saying that for real, like it whatever is going on with you is affecting other people, and I want you to know that people care about you.
Well,
We're here to support each other, man.
People
it
care
doesn't
about you.
seem like it, because the very moment I try to get like just one thing out to one of the only people that I think will actually listen to me, I'm not getting that.
Right.
And then when it comes down to this being shut out thing, that was for certain groups of people. But instead we've blown it up to, it wasn't just for this crowd, or we didn't just agree on this small group of people. No, now we're going to take that out of the original plan, and we're going to go ahead and blow it out of the extreme. That's not catwalking or mental flipping or whatever adjective or verb you use. It's not like that at all.
You did that. You pushed them away. Not me, not Deidre, not anybody else. Red, we're all grieving. We're here to support each other. Become whole. We all grieve in different ways. I'm telling you right now, how you're doing it, if this is how you handle things, you're doing it wrong. You clearly have a lot of shit going on in your head. Talk to one of us. By ourselves. Hey, Drag, I just want to clear my head. Let's go for a walk. We'll fly the drone around and peep in people's windows. I'm dying to do that. Just clear your head.
No, that's very, very
It was a joke. Talk to us. Please, you're hurting. I see that. Deidre sees that. We all see that you're hurting. How you're handling it right now isn't the good way to deal with what you're going through.
And yet when I'm trying to talk to somebody, that's being held from me.
Well,
You're trying to talk to somebody that now.
Not just Hannah. Hell, bring Fiona out here.
Fiona's in tears.
Or bring, well, it would be Fiona actually, because Fiona would be the main one. And I know
Fiona's kind of disgusted with you right now. I'm going to be quite honest with you, and that has nothing to do with anything I said or anything. Fiona is in tears. Jackie's in tears because of you. Red, I'm sorry. I still love you, but this is you.
This is not about the whole love thing between you and me. No love lost, right?
No.
The idea is simple. Is that when I'm trying to talk to somebody and actually get shit done before sunrise, I'm like, okay, well, what does this mean for the plans that we had tomorrow?
Figure it out tomorrow, but it's not happening right now.
And it's like, no, it's like, hey, am I just gonna leave people stranded by taking the freaking minivan back?
There's plenty of cars here will figure it out.
basically what it come down to is that I've agreed to be a shuttle, and I've also agreed to be there when I'm needed.
Yeah.
And I'm being pushed out.
You pushed yourself out.
No,
In
I
fact,
didn't.
you weren't even pushed out. You removed yourself, Red. You.
I don't get this in
I see probably. Well,
Positive right now.
we do a sweep. Well, when I see people talking like this too, they can do a sweep just to make sure there's nothing escalating.
There's 3 of them. Or 2 of them.
They're close to open.
Welcome to California. It's always something.
So Red, you go clear your head, take a warm shower, watch some Young Turks. Hell, watch a Dranism video.
Young Turks.
I like the Young. They're a little bit. Some things are a little bit too progressive. That's my little news thing that one. Point is, Red, you want time to yourself to figure your shit out? You have the time to go figure your shit out for at least a couple hours without bringing everybody else down with you. That's it. Anna's going to talk to you at some point, just not right now. Could we technically today, if you want to split hairs about it, but she'll talk to you, just not right now. She's trying to figure out this right now.
It's funny that there's nothing to figure out. That's why I'm having such a difficult time understanding.
Red,
And
you've been a dickbag this whole trip.
No, I've been keeping.
It's not even the state of mourning. You've just been a douchebag.
I've been keeping to myself.
Keeping to yourself is one thing. Like to say, hey, I'm really need to. Misha keeps to herself. Have you noticed? Ruby, she pretty much keeps to herself. Ruby, yeah.
Yeah, Mikey's here. She keeps to herself.
She's pretty, but she's cordial. But she's not all over the place with people.
I don't know who that is.
Ruby. You just talked to her at the wake. Ruby. You said, "Oh, I know Ruby."
Oh, Ruby. I thought you said Ruby.
Yeah, I heard Ruby.
But like she's a major introvert, and when she says I need to be alone, she does it when we chat. I need space alone. I give her space alone. That's
yeah,
cool.
It's funny
But
that you mentioned her because we actually had a pleasant
I
conversation.
saw that. I was happy for you. I thought, oh God, like I didn't expect this escalation. I didn't know.
I didn't expect it either. That's why I'm kind of surprised on it.
Well, you should have tried talking to me. Shit.
I said that you wasn't in the van.
I understand that we all have a character that we put on, and granted, I have one too.
I know.
But the thing is that if I'm being judged for my character, Captain, you have a character too.
Oh, no.
I did not
Buddy,
appreciate
what you see is 100% me. I don't need to change myself up for any YouTube or none of that. I'm me.
I think he's saying your actions, your character is who you are when you think no one's looking, or your actions.
What I meant to say was, or what I meant by that was, there's a certain expectation that you guys had.
Not really. I didn't walk in with. I expected some semblance of. I mean, we're all.
You expected me to be in a state of mind of talking.
I expected you to be in a state of mourning, but not a douchebag.
Some people mourn in different ways. You may see that as coming across as a douchebag.
But pushing everybody away
and keeping
somehow dragging us down with you.
I'm not dragging you down. How did I drag anybody down?
Do you want me to march every single person out here one by one and have them tell you how you drag them down?
I would like to speak with them privately if that's at all possible.
It ain't happening now. Nick won't start with Fiona.
Well, I didn't say Hannah. I said Fiona too. But
Can we take a night and just rest on this?
Yeah. Go to your room. It's all yours. Rest, sleep it off. We're all tired. I need to be up in like 2 hours.
I'm tired.
Why?
I'm doing an Alcatraz tour tomorrow. Be pretty badass. You should come. Alcatraz.
No, absolutely not.
Not a prison guy.
No, I don't want to hang out with you after what you did.
It's the right thing. You might not.
Just because
think it
you say
is?
it's the right thing doesn't mean it is the right thing, Captain.
You feel violated?
Feel violated?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. If someone barged into your room while you were lying in bed in your underwear with your significant other, would you feel
You
violated?
weren't in bed with your significant other. You were just in bed.
She was not laying next to me. Okay,
No, she wasn't.
Oh,
No, she definitely was not. Are you talking about just now?
No. As in when you barged in.
In the beginning.
I didn't barge in. I knocked on your door.
No, you barged in.
Are we talking about the first time or this time?
She was laying right next to me.
The first time, I think, right?
Well, that was actually Belle, but I'm not referring to that one.
I don't know which time he's talking about because neither time was she in the room in bed with him.
I'm confused.
Okay.
But either way, Fred.
Tonight I was in bed with her. You like bashed on the door. As soon as she opened the door, you came in.
Oh yeah, and she walked up. Yeah, so you weren't in bed with her. She left. Splitting hairs, Red. You're
splitting
grasping at straws. So let me tell you once again how it's going to happen because now you're grinding on my final nerve. Get to your room and go to bed. You want to be a cranky bitch about it, you keep doing that. If you want to talk to your goddamn friends who came hundreds and thousands of miles to be here together to mourn Jade as a group, then we will gladly accept you. And you stow this goddamn pity shit attitude. You go to your room, you sleep, you pray to fucking Nass, whatever you do. Go for a walk. Go for a car
Not
ride.
about praying to NASA.
You do. It's a joke, Red. Hyperbole. You go do you. We're gonna go do us. We'll see you in the morning when you're fresh. Go. Nice meeting you. No, shit. Are you going up again?
Where am I?
No,
I'm in 14. Wait, where are you going?
You're up here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let's go. Be alone. He is alone.
Sorry, I have arthritis in my hip, so I'm just trying to make it up.
No, you're good. Okay.
Oh, not next time.
The lengths of mental gymnastics that guy goes through.
It's pretty bad.
No, I'm going to apologize, but I'm actually going to apologize as if you were apologizing to me.
I have right there. That's what I'm going to do.
Is that
Oh, no problem. Come on. No, I'm all by myself. I was planning with Groovy, and Groovy brought her boyfriend. So.
King is going to rule this castle. None of you are allowed to talk.
I'm so sorry.
I'm on that side though, I think.
All right, okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's the kitchen.
Okay. Deidre, was I too harsh on him?
No.
Okay.
He was very contained. He was very contained, but he was just really firm.
So I don't. Just a brief synopsis.
We're trying to say, go to bed, sort yourself out. You've made people very miserable. No, you cannot talk to Hannah. No, you cannot talk to people. Let's just go to bed. And he, for some reason, wants to have a chat with either you alone or Fiona alone. We said, no, we're going to bed. And we've kind of been going around. And he's been really firm.
In circles, basically, go to bed, and then he's like, no, I want to.
No,
But at the end, it deteriorated a bit, I noticed.
Here's the bottom line. We're here to be to mourn. We all have different ways of mourning. We're also here to support each other. How he's mourning is unhealthy. And somehow by isolating himself, it's like he's the anchor. And we're tied to the
Notice I was outside. You could hear the cars moving by, the people moving by. Now we're inside. Reds is not in here.
It's not healthy. So he so he never wants to see me again. Oh no,
It was like, dude, I wish it was in other circumstances, as we totally hang out and have. He's like, but now I don't want to ever see it again.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey. No, no swearing. Not really swearing.
Was he? Is he acknowledged innocent?
No.
He apologized for
He's
the things
doing
he thinks
exactly
I
what
did
you
wrong.
said, which is I want to be left alone, and I haven't done anything to anybody because I've been wanting to be left alone, and everything's a violation on his face.
Did he do anything? Do you feel like he's done something wrong? Yes or no? Just yes or no. Okay. Kevin, you feel like he's done something wrong? Fucking Skippy. Yeah.
I agree. He doesn't know.
Okay.
Now, just I told him as much.
Leave Q alone.
I just chose to ignore it.
He's a drink. I just want to slap his butt.
My hope is that I think I'm waiting slowly to like.
There's no picking away. There's no more of that. Stop thinking like that.
I'm saying what I did before. Now at this point it's done.
Yeah, I was thinking like that too, to be honest. Like we got him to talk in the van a little bit, and then in the week he was talking to me and Groovy a little bit, and
That was nothing, but again, it's so fragile. No, it's like a house of cards. The second a little bit with that's it. You guys.
But it is ridiculous. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. It's like an alcoholic family kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
I still stand by that. It's an alcoholic family situation.
We can only move forward.
I'm in a quandary right now.
With or without him?
He was saying, yeah, we're cool. If I had a problem against you, then I'd tell you. Okay. And yeah, talking.
So that is the recording. It's public on the. Hang on, something's playing in my ear, and I can't stand that. Stupid autoplay, make it stop. Okay. That recording on the landing, looking down, car actually went by. When we went, what's going on? What's the cruiser doing? Cop car actually cruised by. People are walking by. You can hear the cars moving. We are outside. So what Cheshire said that we were filming inside or recording or filming inside a hotel room is not true. The only point where we moved to inside a hotel room was when it was my suite and we went into my suite, and all the people that were in Red's suite left his suite and ended up in my suite. I ended up going from a bed by myself by sharing a bed with Hannah and Fiona, and there's a kind of a funny picture we took where we piled like all the girls on the bed because it was funny. But we made room and made do. And he had a suite all alone to himself. 2 bedrooms, kitchen, a living room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people displaced for the evening because of him. So that's that incident. So now you've seen that, and I'm going to go back to the other interview. That's the video that they kept referencing. And I think when Steve says she's done things to people in real life, the only thing I can think of is this. And the reason why this video exists is a couple things. He made threats, and he was escalated. He was demanding to see his girlfriend. She didn't want to see him, and he doesn't take no for an answer. It was very close to an escalation. We did not know how he's going to behave because he was making threats earlier. So that's why I hit record. Also to protect Osimo. So the narrative, I don't say that word. Take a drink. The narrative that was put out by AT2 Productions and Look a Pig, they went live twice and tried to put out a narrative, and they pulled down the video, is that Captain Osimo was in a freak out rage, and Rhetoric feared for his life, so he made threats. And they played it that way. So This video is released for two reasons. One is they set up Fiona for emotional. How do I want to say this? Red set up Fiona to be a handler for him and to be almost like the person that takes a fall if things go south. And looking back in retrospect, it was a terrible position to be in. And he made it her job to tell everybody to go, that he wanted everybody to go fuck off and get away from me. So she gave the message per his permission with less swear words, made it real clear he didn't want anything to do with anybody. Captain Osimo didn't think it applied to him because he wasn't part of TST or anything. And Captain Osimo is very golden retriever. She's a bartender. He's very extroverted and friendly, and he likes to have fun. And he usually can really, calm people down. So the first incident I didn't have recorded. I was asleep. In the first incident, he knocks on the door and he's let into the suite by Hannah, Red's girlfriend. He's not barred in. He doesn't bust in. He's let into it. I only have the second one because I thought enough to think about it in case I ran into him. Like I chased after Osimo because Osimo said, I want to make sure everybody gets to this hotel room safe and they have their luggage. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, and he's a big buff guy, and he can handle confrontation. He's a bartender, and I followed him because I didn't know what crazy Rhetoric was going to do. So that's why I followed him. And I tried to defuse the way I knew, and he diffused the way he knew. And it was a dance all weekend to babysit this guy. And in hindsight, I think the best resolution would be to have uninvited Reds from the beginning. But hindsight's 2020. Anyway, I'm going to play the interview that I had stopped in the middle because I was trying to show you the context. Oh, another reason why I had to, well, I felt like I should make this video public, the one with the recording, because I held on to it for a while and I didn't want to. They were spreading the lie that Fiona never told anybody, and you can tell in that conversation when we get back to the hotel room that it was clear that she has told people that he didn't want to, hang out. She delivered the message. So when things went south, AT2 Productions and other people were beating up Fiona, saying that all this was her fault. And Steve said all of it was her fault. They held her accountable for everything going south. It is so gross and unhealthy and shocking. And I wanted you to know this because right now he is tweeting a lie on Twitter about her again. And that involves SA and that stupid airport story again. So I wanted to let you know that Rhetoric has this habit of holding people emotionally hostage, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to play the rest of the interview with Red's ex-girlfriend, who was part of our community too. Also, keep in mind, I have a theory why Cheshire backed down from NSS, because Cheshire once dated Red's Rhetoric, and I'm curious to know what her experience is. Interesting.
Okay. My girl Frog Jules says, how emotionally exhausting. Nana of 7 asked a question earlier, and I now can't find it because chat's moving a little too fast, even though I put slow mode on, which I'm fine with. But she said something to the effect of, do you feel like Reds felt like he had to make the funeral about himself instead of Jade?
This is going to sound like such a spiteful ex-girlfriend answer, but the unfortunate answer is yes. Reason being was that I don't. It's very difficult, and I talked to you about this before. It's very difficult to explain Reds to people that haven't interacted with him when he's turned off. When Red's rhetoric is turned off, and who he really is in the driver's seat, because you'll see that he just can't talk. Like he doesn't know. He doesn't have a lot of emotional intelligence, to say the least. So if it's not about him, he doesn't know what to do. Like he doesn't understand. So unless and the moment you make it about him, that's when the Reds rhetoric persona comes out. And you can't. That's not someone that you can rationalize with. Reds rhetoric is not there to be rational. Reds rhetoric is there to fulfill, like, I'd say, like a hole in Reds, where he might not be a big tough guy IRL, but he can pretend on the internet, or he can put on a performance on the internet. And unfortunately, when it came to Jade, it was, you want me to go to Jade's funeral, do you, Hannah? Yes, I do. Okay, that's something I'm going to use against you. And I think after that, he never let that go. We had plenty of fights and like shouting matches where he's basically telling me that it's my fault Jade's funeral was ruined. If I only like listened to him, if I only did like what he wanted me to do, this wouldn't have happened. And it was just, there was nothing. I did everything in my power.
A couple people have just come in and are asking about the volume. The volume is low because this is as loud as we can make Hana, so I've turned myself down lower so that we can match. So you're gonna have to turn your volume up. That's why the volume's a little low. Javier, I'm not putting that up. I see your comment, but I'm not putting that one up. A few people have mentioned in chat today and have mentioned me privately, and have mentioned on the former streams that they felt like Reds was threatening. I have two questions on that. The first one is, do you feel like Reds was making threats? And do you feel like Reds is somebody who is a threatening person, someone who would carry through with a threat?
This is a difficult question because Reds isn't like stupid. He's not, completely out of his mind when he says the things he does. He just wants to have plausible deniability.
Okay.
Personally, I can only tell you my experience, and if people feel differently, that's perfectly acceptable. I had to contact my local precinct and give them his plate number, because I remember his plate. Basically, give them his information and tell them, like, if this individual comes to my house, can I have police show up and escort him away from me? Like, I made a deal with, I'm friendly with people at the local precinct, and I did that after I broke up with him. The reason that I did that is because I know people like Unirock are just gonna like completely do stupid shit or say stupid shit that I'm not saying, but he never said, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to shoot you. He's never said stuff like that. But he's come close to that line, I would say. Like, you can't... During the funeral, he told Captain Osimo, like, you're lucky I don't have my Ruger with me. What the fuck does that mean? What do you mean you're lucky you don't have a Ruger? Yeah, like, what were you going to do with him and a Ruger? There's only so many things. What are you going to do? Like, show him a gun trick? What are you doing? And not to mention, like, there is a story that he propagated to me and to several close individuals of him brandishing a weapon at Burger King, may or may not have been shouting the N-word. He told me a version where he shouted the N-word, hard R, at an individual, and then lifted his...
Do you remember when they were laughing at Kyle saying there's hashtag no Burger King in prison? Haha, no Burger King in prison, Kyle. No Burger King in prison. It's because Reds told this weird story, and it may or may not be true. We don't know. But he told this story to several people that he brandished a gun at a Burger King. And he also brings a racial element to this story. And then he later backtracks and says he tells the story to see like who the weak is. and he tells it to several different creators. This weird story, and it's very Florida. It's a very Florida story. I don't know how else to describe it. Stand your ground, but stand your Burger King.
His shirt to show the gun in his gym gym shorts to threaten some guy away from him because he got into like a dispute as regarding like who gets into the drive-through thing. You know, may or may not have been shouting the N-word. He told me a version where he shouted the N-word, hard R, at an individual, and then showed like lifted his shirt to show the gun in his gym gym shorts to threaten some guy away from him because he got into like a dispute as regarding like who gets into the drive-through first or something to that degree. So that's 2 counts, and then the third count, and I've never said this publicly, and I feel like it's time to say this publicly because I don't know who he's done this to since me. I hope it's only been me because I would hate to know that he did this to somebody else and I didn't say anything to warn them. I broke up with him twice. The first time I caught him lying to me. You know, he looked at private messages. He pretended that he didn't look at private messages. Okay, you know, after a week of trying to subtly tell him that I know he's looked at my private messages and him trying to sell me otherwise, I basically said I can't trust somebody who won't. You know, it's an honest. If it were an honest mistake, that's fine. But don't lie to me that you never did in the first place. I can clearly see that you did. So I broke up with him, and I went on a trip that I had been planning with a group of my close high school friends for about 2 years. It was about a 15, 16-day trip to Japan. During that trip to Japan, it was early in the morning for me, and I decided to participate in the live chat of a non sequitur show debate where Reds was participating. I didn't tag Reds, I didn't talk to Reds, I didn't talk about Reds. I more or less was shitting on the other flat earther, you know, because I'm bored. We're sitting on a train, all of my friends are sleeping, you know.
Sure.
That's,
I did
that's
that a
all
lot,
I did.
so I get it.
And I at the time I was even a Patreon of Non Sequitur Show for a while. You know, I've always been in the live chat. This was nothing new. It's not like people in the live chat had not seen me before. You know, this was pretty common.
Sure.
After the debate, I thought nothing of it. You know, walking around Kyoto, I received a message from him, and I thought I had him blocked on everything, but apparently I didn't have him blocked on Google Hangouts. Where he says, "It's an emergency. I need to talk to you." And I had said, no, like this, you know, I'm on vacation. Fuck off. Like, no, it's an emergency. Please, you have to answer. Please, please. You know, he's calling. Okay, fine. You know, fuck my data, I guess. So I pick up the phone and he's a mess. He's in tears. He's crying. You know, you can't do this to me. You can't do it. What did I do? You're in the live chat. Okay, just block me then. You won't see me in the live chat. Yeah, but I'll see people tagging you. But like Reds, I want to be on platforms that I'm always been. Like, why do I have to change my life because you're upset?
That's weird.
And he's like, you don't know what's going on. You know, do you even know that I hit 3 pigs? Yes, I know you hit 3 pigs. I donated to you anonymously, like a couple $100. You know, compounded as like a birthday present and as a, you know, sorry you hit 3 pigs. Even after we broke up, just because I, you know, god damn, you know, that's terrible. I hope you're okay. I know you hit 3 pigs. Yeah, you don't understand what you've done to me. You're my everything. You know, you don't understand that this Ruger is looking real friendly.
He said that to you?
Yeah. And I will never forget those words because something, and Fiona can verify this, I am someone as an adolescent attempted suicide. And it took like I thought it's not fair to be in a relationship with someone where you tell them that you are open and honest and that you are hiding things from them. So I made a kind of like hangout with Fiona and him to talk about my past so that at least it's open and it's on the table, right? Like, hey, this is just what happened to me. No need to make a big deal about it, but I think you should know this. So
I'm so
he
sorry,
decided to do
Hannah.
that.
I can't. Hold on, real quick. We're not moving past this. First of all, okay, I want to say something about Reds because I found Reds before I found the GDC because I used to watch his space launch videos or rocket launch videos, whatever. And I thought they were awesome. And then I was watching Non Sequitur, which I found in a different way, and he was on it, and I was like, "That's the guy that I watch his rocket launch videos. This is cool. Like, I'm subscribed to that dude."
Yeah.
And
sorry, I had to move into the bathroom, so if I'm echoing, I apologize.
it's okay.
This is only gonna be
You're
temporary.
fine. You're fine. So I was a huge fan of Red's Rhetoric independently first. And I'm still a big fan. I think he makes excellent rocket launch videos. I think they're out fucking standing. I am jealous of his ability to make those videos so fantastic. And I want to say that publicly because this is not, I didn't come here to make a, my plan wasn't to shit on Reds all day. It's just, this is how the conversation ended up.
No, I understand. Like, again, his rocket launch videos, everybody loves them. That's why he has
Absolutely.
fans.
They're fantastic.
But I could not explain this to you, that I told him, like, if you want to do YouTube full time, I will support you. Whatever you need. You need me to do SEO for you, thumbnails, whatever. Let's make YouTube your career. Oh, you said you don't want YouTube as your career? You want to work for Tesla? You want to work for SpaceX? Then I'm going to put my energy, into making your dream come true. And he never committed. Like, he just didn't care. He just wanted somebody that was going to be at his beck and call, I guess.
Hana,
And it sucks because
you are like a dream girlfriend, by the way, like a dream relationship partner, however you want to say it. Like everyone should be lucky enough to have. No, I'm serious. I'm saying maybe you weren't perfect or whatever, but that's what everybody wants, right? I just want somebody who's going to support me for my dreams, like put me first. Like that's.
I don't believe, there's no way, because that was my first relationship. I've never been with anyone of any sex, of any gender, until him. I wasn't interested. I didn't care. Like, I was a working girl, career woman. I just don't care. And I haven't been with anyone seriously since, because I just.
So Red's Rhetoric's the only person that you have ever seriously been romantically involved with.
Yes. That's why I'm telling you. I know I'm not the perfect girlfriend, because I had
no
insurmountable amount of things to learn.
Hold on. You can't not victim blame yourself. Okay. If you were in a relationship that sounds abusive, I'm not saying that was abusive. I'm saying this sounds a lot like I'm saying that the duck quacks, okay, or whatever it is, quacks and walks like a duck. It's not your fault that you got into a relationship with somebody who didn't treat you right. That has happened to most people that I know, have at some point been in a relationship, a romantic entanglement with somebody where things became abusive. That is not your fault. I do not want you feeling that it is your fault, and that does not make you a bad person or a bad romantic partner. Reds made his decisions, and he chose to do the things that he wanted to do, and it is not your fault that those are the choices that he made, the decisions that he made. You have always been a phenomenal friend to me, and I do not want to hear you putting yourself down like that, because you do not deserve it in any way, shape, or form.
I appreciate it, but to me, it's like, I don't think about him. I don't. Before I was scared, because after he called me, you gotta understand, I was on the phone with him for, I'd have to double check with my high school friends, because we had something called pocket Wi-Fi, and he was calling me over Google Hangouts. So you can imagine I'm less than 6 feet away from my closest high school friends, them listening to me crying on the phone, like asking him, like, do you need a hotline? Do you have access to a hospital? Like, where's your gun right now? Where are you right now? Like, how far is the gun from you? Like, is there anybody, they had to listen to this for like at least half an hour. And I'm just like crying my eyes out, thinking, like, I'm on vacation and my ex is just going to kill himself. Like, what am I going to do? So I ended up, talking to a few people, seeing if I can pass a message to Sean Hufford, like, hey, can Sean Hufford check up on him? As far as I'm aware, Sean Hufford never responded. Yeah, and I just, the shitstorm that happened with him and his roommate was actually started because I contacted his roommate, and told him like, he just said this to me on the phone. I don't know what to do. I'm scared that he's gonna hurt himself. I'm scared he's gonna do something crazy. I don't know what to do. Can you please, like, just for my sake, while I'm on the literal opposite side of the world, can you just take the gun for now? Just disassemble it, put it somewhere, just until he's calmed down. Then you can, you and him can have a talk or whatever. And that's what started the problems between him and his roommate that ended up in the shit show.
Well, have you spoken to somebody like a professional about all of the things that you went through in this relationship?
No. No, I kind of chalk it up to shit happens and, just kind of move on.
Well, I'm a huge advocate of therapy because of how much it helped me in my life. So I urge you to try if you can.
I'm fine. Like I know it sounds crazy. Like it's crazy to other people, but I'm fine. Like I'm moved on. I'm in a different city. I'm doing different things. Like I don't know. I just don't think about that. Like I guess I was scared the first year and a half, I have to say, which is a reason why Reds, sorry, a few people in the GDC were so, you were walking on eggshells because I was so scared that if I told anybody, because by the time I got back, funny enough, I got back together with him after the Japan thing. I can't explain to you how it happened. It just did. He drove 18 hours straight to my home, and we just made up. But from that point on, I didn't realize it, but I became isolated. I didn't talk to anybody from the GDC. I didn't have a confidant anymore. He made me apologize to Jared and a few people because I didn't contact them first before breaking up with him or something like that. And I just felt like this is how things are going to be from now on. I just have to be Red's peace while he goes and does whatever in his community, and I can't speak because I don't want him to kill himself. I don't want him to threaten to do
neither
that.
do I.
I don't
Listen,
want him.
I don't want anybody to do that, and I hope Reds gets help too. Reds, if you ever see this, dude, it is not okay to make those kinds of comments to people, and you obviously need some help, and I really, truly hope you get it because it's just not okay, man. Yeah.
I don't know. I felt bad too because I met Jared and Sean Hufford and a few people in person, and I really liked hanging out with them. And just the shit that happened afterwards almost exclusively happened. The reason why they attacked me so much is literally because I broke up with Reds. Like I did nothing to them personally, to the point where Sean's aunt and his family asked me to come back. They apparently liked me so much they invited me to stay with them again. Like I don't know what I did to Sean or to Jared or whatever that made them as like they straight out say some shit that just did not like factually did not happen. I can't even fathom that somebody would just make shit up out of the blue or pretend that something didn't happen when it did and they were personally witness to it. But like I'm not Red's friend. I know how the game is played. I was there for 2+ years. I know that that's how they interact with him. They just affirm everything. Like they affirm with each other, but Red particularly needs that support. So they will always affirm stuff for Reds because he needs it. Like that, and they're his friends, and they just feel like they all have to do that.
Sure.
So it doesn't surprise me that they do, but it does scare me because the first time I broke up with him, and I failed to mention this, sorry. The first time I broke up with him, there was a period before I went to Japan and, after the breakup where I was doxxed. I don't know how. It happened quite shortly after I broke up with him. I was getting voicemails. I don't think I got any emails. I might have and then just deleted them right away. But I was certainly getting like phone calls almost every night for like a month and change. like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm a
Oh my
whore.
God.
I'm only with him because he's a big YouTuber. I'm a piece of shit. You know, I'm gold digger. I'm, you know, like all this. It was just these phone calls like every single morning. And as someone who was like looking for a job at the time, you know, I didn't not answer a phone call, but sometimes these phone calls would come in the middle of the morning. Sometimes they'd come in the middle of the day. Most often they came in the morning. So I don't know. I'm not saying it was Reds. I'm not saying it was. I'm not pointing a finger particularly at any one of them.
Sure.
I'm
No one
just saying,
is.
like,
Yeah.
I don't. It's just it seemed to have happened conspicuously right after I broke up with Reds. Like, I don't. Okay, and I was just scared. Like, I just thought, like, I don't live alone. I live with my family. Like, he knows. He memorized the route from his house to my house, and he knows how to get here. He doesn't need to look at a map. What's to stop him from coming over to my house, like brandishing a gun at me? You know, I try to call the police, and then you know, like he's already gone, and I just look like a crazy person. Like, there's what am I gonna do? Like, it's my word against his, and that's never gonna win out for me because I look like a jaded ex-girlfriend, or I look like a crazy person. Like, so I kind of ask people in the GDC, like, hey, don't mention my name. You know, like, don't.
That's
don't
exactly
talk
what you
about
said.
Reds.
That the first conversation we ever had, I had the brass tacks document and I had the recording of that hangout. And the first thing you said was, "Don't mention my name." I know that you've got the documents. I know you've got the brass tacks. I know my name's in it. Can you please make sure that my name is not shown on screen? And I said, absolutely. I will make sure that I don't show your name. That was the very first conversation we ever had. And now I understand why. Now I understand why you were so scared.
I guess, and I feel bad because I handicapped so many people. Like, it. Sure, like my relationship with him is something that is exclusive to me, but he didn't do shit exclusively to me. He did stuff in the presence of other people, and it was just as much their story to tell as it was mine. And I kind of handicapped everyone by saying, like, please don't talk about it because, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't, like, I can't explain that he will follow a suggestion if he thinks he can make a plausible alternative to what actually is the case. So let's say Jerry proposes that he comes to my house, right? And Red mules about it. Oh, why would I come to his house? And then somebody else gives him the idea. Oh, you can come to Hannah's house and make her look like a crazy person by just showing up or just driving around for a little bit and then go fucking off or something. Like some stupid suggestion, right? And if enough people tell him that this stupid suggestion is a good idea, that it'll get the effect that he wants, and he can come up with a plausible, deniable alternative, he's going to do it. And I know he does that because he's told me several times that he's done that. The last time I broke up with him, I had found out that the Burger King story was going out, the one where he shouted the N-word hard R at some guy and brandished a gun.
Right.
I found out that that story was becoming public. So I told him, I warned him. And remember, I'm not talking to these people. I separated myself from Drag, Fiona, and like all my friends online. They didn't hear from me. They didn't even know I was back with Reds. I just ghosted everybody because I didn't want to stress Reds out. And I said, you gotta be honest about what happened. You gotta just own it and move on. And I'll never forget. Like, this is another thing I'll never forget because this shit bothers me when I think about it. He smiles. He starts smiling, like smirking at me. I'm like, what the fuck are you smiling about? That's not fun. Like, you committed a crime. That's a crime in Florida. What are you talking? That's not funny.
I think it's a crime everywhere.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, because it's a lie. Wait, what's a lie? That never happened. Wait, what never happened? The Burger King situation. Reds, you told me that happened before I broke up with you the first time. That was like one of the first trials and tribulations of our relationship. Where, like, even after that, he was crying, oh my God, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to freaking. And I'm still supporting you, and I'm still saying that I'm gonna be here for you, and I'm still, and I'm gonna help you. God forbid the police get involved or something. I'm trying to think what the fuck the bail costs are in Florida. I'm still gonna be behind you. And you just told me that, like, all of that is a lie? Like, do you... And it's fucked up because this dude would drive around with the car with me in the car whenever I never wanted to go to Florida. I really sparsely wanted to go to Florida.
I don't blame
Because this dude would drive with the fucking pistol in his gym shorts, like just in his waistband. And I'm just like, we're just gonna go get food. What the fuck do we need a gun for? And sometimes he'd have it in the little cubby, like in the cubby for the dash thing, whatever the fuck that's called. I don't know, like under the next to the steering wheel. And sometimes I didn't know if the gun was in the car at all. So I'm thinking like, if we get into road rage or something, am I gonna get shot? Like, is he gonna shoot somebody? Are we gonna get in a shootout right now? Because like Florida man is such a prolific thing. You see a bit like in the news all the time, you know, 2 90-year-old men got in a shootout over a parking dispute. Like it's crazy in Florida. They're fucking stupid. And I'm sitting there like crying because I'm thinking like this guy who's my partner just admitted that he brandished the gun and used a racial epithet, and that like this could happen at any moment, and I have no control. I'm just sitting here in the passenger seat like a dingus. Like, what am I supposed to do?
All right, take a breath. I'll talk for a minute. Just,
Sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. Just, I care about you. That's all. Just remind everybody, in a few minutes when we end this, there will be an after show over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. Come in and join the Discord. If you want to be on the after show and talk with me, you can join the Discord. We'll be in the live chat room. I'll put the Discord link in the chat again. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hannah, I want to close everything down, but I want to start with this. When we first met and started talking and you told me you were scared, I didn't understand. I thought that I did. I thought that I knew, and I didn't. And I am so sorry for what you went through. It wasn't fair. It wasn't right. And you didn't deserve it. And you had every right to be scared. That is not how you act around people, especially not somebody you're in a relationship with. I'm so sorry that happened to you. But I want to give yourself a minute. I want you to say whatever you want to say to close this out, and go ahead, whatever you want to say.
I mean, sorry, I was like got off on a tangent for a little bit, but
It's okay.
I'm not someone who's here to shit on Reds for the sake of shitting on Reds. I would have done that years ago if I cared. I want everyone to know that Fiona was telling the truth. Fiona has bent over backwards to help him during the relationship. She was our confidant, you know, like she knows intimate details about our sex life and stuff way before she ever met him in person. And she was the kind of person that would help us, like try to be like almost like a counselor, and this is what to expect out of a relationship, and this is how you deal with arguments and stuff. It is hard for me to hear that she was accused of assault when as the only other person at JFK that day, to say it was sexual assault is the most stupid, disgusting, asinine argument I've ever heard in my life. Because by that same token, Rhetoric's grandma has sexually assaulted me twice. Because she also did the peck on the cheek, you know, peck on both cheeks greeting. That's like a standard, you know, European, you know, South American type greeting. This is commonplace. Fiona is Scottish. Like, this is someone who she knows, again, intimate details about his life, my life, our relationship. This was not a stranger. You know, I can't describe to you how ecstatic Reds was to meet Fiona. I mean, we're all happy, and it was a good trip, and I had so much fun with everybody. I had fun with Reds, I had fun with Fiona, I had fun even with G-Man. It was a good trip, and to hear some pea-brain wannabe me try to turn it into something that it's not, and try to ruin one of the few good memories I have by saying some just like really dumb shit. I mean, I gotta give it to Like, I just really quickly, I do have to give it to Cheshire because supposedly, like, they're a thing, which is cool. She might be the reason why Reds hasn't called me on the phone threatening to kill himself again, because maybe he had a distraction. So Cheshire, come through to New York. I'll buy you a steak dinner. Thank you for taking that off my hands. During a time where I don't think I could have handled it. But other than that, like, that's clearly not what happened at JFK. And just shut the fuck up, you idiot. But
Sure.
Fiona, if you guys haven't watched Fiona,
I'll ask you this. What does it seem believable that Hannah, the girlfriend of Red's, who snaps that picture at JFK Airport, that's the picture, right? The one with the elbow, right? Where he's smiling. And we black out this face. That picture was taken by the girlfriend. Do you think she would be cool and happy if there was tongue action? You think that, like, Hannah, who's in her first or second relationship in her life, is gonna be, like, really down with that? Like, she's like, yeah, we're very adventurous. You know, no, no. But Steve recently tweeted, I believe Reds and Fiona used tongue, and it's SA. Remember the SA lie? He didn't tweet the SA part. He used the tongue part. But it's a backup of Cheshire's layered argument, right? That lie. He's disgusting. And so is Reds. And I dislike Reds more than Steve, by the way, if you haven't figured that out.
was Requiem for a GDC, please do. She's an amazing person. If you have any opportunity to watch some of her discussions that she's been in on TST, Talking Shit Tuesday, or even here, like, I strongly encourage it. She's a phenomenal human being.
She is. She's one of my favorite people around, and I'm honored that she's my friend. She's fantastic, fantastic person. Hannah, do you want to join us for the after show? You don't have to.
I've got time. I'll join.
Okay. All right, guys, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to close this down. Give me about 5 minutes to refresh my drink, and we'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. I want to thank the chat for being here. Hannah, of course, thank you so much, my friend. And
no problem.
Guys, we will see you in a few minutes over on Twitch.
The streets of Salem were a terrifying sight. The witches dancing with the demons in the night. Their evil minions watch the town while it's in bed. Wish 'em dead, wish 'em dead, wish 'em dead. Old Reverend Paris knew that something was amiss. He felt the evil from a spiritual abyss. He knew the time had come to purify the town. Hunt 'em down, hunt 'em down, hunt 'em down. No time was wasted in assembling a squad. This pitchfork army on a mission sent from God. No witch was saved from Reverend Paris's brigade. Their crusade, their crusade, their crusade. Call the magistrate and don't you wait another minute, cause this town is going to hell if we don't put away the sinning. And we got no time to let a jury have their turn. Let them burn, let them burn, let them burn. The damned were crammed into a carriage on the square. Their faces battered and their bodies all were bare. The Reverend led them to an isolated hill. Time to kill, time to kill, time to kill. One by one their necks were snapped beneath the cedar tree. The spirits vanished and the demons all were free. They dug a hole to hold the devilish remains. They were slain, they were slain, they were slain. The town was safe from all those wicked dissidents. They could continue with their life of innocence, dispensing justice from a higher power. They built a church atop the spirits and the bones. Their moans were heard as they were laying down the stones. But the witches got revenge beneath that steeple bell. They cast a spell, sent the Reverend to hell.
What are you guys still doing here for? The show's over. I'm going to take a nap. Y'all have a good night or day. Thanks. Bye.